Hey everyone, Sean Clement here, Wisdom in Golf, headquartered at the Richmond Hill Golf Learning Center. And today is a massive important video for your consistency. And so many of you don't even know that your eyes are moving around like crazy because you're thinking about all the different body parts that you're trying to hit. And this is incredibly detrimental to your consistency factor. So first and foremost, I'm going to show you and demonstrate to you how important it is to keep your eyes in the same place, but not for the sake of keeping the eyes in the same place. It's for the sake of keeping your focus where it needs to be throughout the majority, not the majority, the entirety of your golf swing. So when I'm looking down at the ball, what should I be seeing? This is what many of you do. You look down, and then the first thing you do in your backswing is you go and make sure that you're going to put your body parts in the positions that you saw on the Golf Channel or in the Golf Digest magazine or in golf books. And they said, be careful, watch out, make sure that you find these positions. So you're going to go find these positions, and when you're done with them, what's left? Oh, ball. And then you're swiping at the ball. In order to activate your body's kinetic system, your body's kinetic chain, because we've been on this planet for a while, and for 2.5 million years we were hunter-gatherers, and we were amazing, we still are, amazing at throwing stuff to different places. Baseball, high-a-lie, lacrosse, you name it, we're awesome at it because we're gravity geniuses. So in order for this ball or this stone to skip on the pond over there, my attention's on the pond, and what I'm seeing is the stone skipping, and I hear that nice skipping on the pond. So the brain goes, I need the ground to move the body out of the way so I have access to the pond, because the shoulders, once again, only have 20 degrees of range. If I don't move the body, I'm going to hit myself. I'm going to wreck my shoulder. I'm going to bruise myself. I'm going that way, brain goes to the ground, uses the ground to get the body out of the way, so I have access there. Which means what I see down here is massively important. My brain, I'm going to show you guys and gals how to keep your brain on the target so that you get full access there. That means your weight shift will engage without you having to think about it. Your body and hips will clear without you having to think about it. And then you'll get this beautiful release of energy without you having to think about it. So this is extremely important. Now look at all these other sports here, right? So if I go to tennis, when I'm doing my tennis serve and I toss the ball, my eyes are on the ball. Where's my attention? My attention is on where I want the ball to go. So my eyes may be there. That's because I need to see this intersection on my way through to that service box. Same thing in baseball. If I'm tossing a ball, I want to play some foosball with you. I'm not going to toss the ball and look over here at my body parts. How am I supposed to get this ball over to you? So when I'm tossing that ball in the air, I'm focused on whether I'm going to hit a ground to third base, or if I'm going to hit a line drive over first base into right field. So I'm picturing on where I want that ball to go. So my toss, if I'm going to third base, I'm turning over here, I'm tossing the ball over here, and I'm going that way. If I'm going to first base, I'm going this way. If I want to go to center field, I'm going this way. So my toss has everything to do with where I want to put the ball. And obviously, my eyes never come off the ball. But am I focused on the ball? No, I'm focused on the act of placing or putting the ball in the direction I want to go. So this is like primo important. If I'm getting ready to hammer a nail into a door frame or a 2x4, and you're holding the nail for me and you see me doing this, is the deal still on? Don't think so. Right? So all these sports that you see happening, you will never see the athletes looking at their body parts and wondering what the hell's going on. You always see them focused on putting the object, whether it's a puck, a ball, a nail, whatever, they're applying the task. So when I'm setting up here, one of my favorite tasks, of course, let me get my grass whip here. So you have a grass cutting tool and you're just cutting grass. So if you're in your backyard cutting grass, obviously your brain sees a whole mess, a whole row of blades of grass. You're not going to cut just one blade at a time, are you? So you're just going to cut through a nice row, and then you get to see what happens. And then you see where the next row is. So you take a step, cut through the next row. Take a step, cut through the next row. So you're not going to be looking at where this grass whip is going, because then you can't see what you're trying to cut. You don't have any feedback of where you're cutting. You don't see the rows that you're trying to cut. So many of you don't even know where the club is passing in front of you. Then how are you supposed to find your bearings? How are you supposed to find the distance between you and the ball? So it's incredibly important to know where the heck you are. So if you don't have the use of your eyes, well, you'll need a seeing eye person to say, okay, right there, you need to be a little closer. A little closer. Okay, you're all set. Well, I could close my eyes right now. I feel the ground. I know where the ground is, and I can feel where I need to be to go cut the grass. So I caught that ball extremely solid. It cut the grass beautifully. It's a fantastic exercise for you to have, because you're just focused on, I'm just cutting grass. There it is. There it is. So I can feel the grass being cut. I can hear the grass being cut by the sole of the club. So now, my eyes are on the leading edge, or between the leading edge of the club and the ball, on that little sliver of grass. And what my brain sees is the act, the task of cutting through the imaginary dandelion stem. So you notice the dandelion stem growing out of the center of the ball. Well, you'll realize if you put that ball up against something, put it up against, let's say, a door frame, and you'll realize that the only way to get the sole of the club through the dandelion stem, it hasn't reached the dandelion stem yet, the center of the ball has to find the center, the face of the club. So to put a ball in the air, all you got to do is cut the dandelion stem. How do you want to do that? Do you want to shove it? Do you want to steer it? Or do you want to feel a nice whipping action? So I want to feel that I'm using a nice whip. So you notice when I'm cutting through something with my sword, the brain's going to go get the ground, use the ground to get the body out of the way, so I get to access through the cut. I'm not going to do that. Same thing here. I see the stem. My eyes are on that grass between the leading edge of the club and the ball, and I'm seeing a nice whipping cut through the stem and along the surface of the ground here. So I could go through the stem like this, but the problem is there's a planet on the other side of that ball that's going to stop me cold in my tracks and maybe injure me. Not good. And I could cut through this way, but I'd have a tendency to hit the ground way before the ball. So where is it that I can have a nice clean cut through the center of the stem? Right there. So I see the stem in my mind, I gather my sword, and I'm going to cut through that dandelion stem with a nice whip. Do I want that whip to be very high in strain where I'm going to pop a rib? No. I want to feel like my effort level is 3 out of 10 to get 7 out of 10 in velocity, so I could get to do this all day. Dandelion season's coming up. You're going to see me out there with my grass whip and my students. So I have a very specific direction. So I'm going to pick an intermediate point in front of the ball, no more than a foot out. I'm going to pick it from back here, so I'm using my binocular vision, not my side vision, which is a complete dog. So there's where I'm going, right over that intermediate point. I see my stem, and I'm going to whip through the stem with ease and velocity. Gather that sword, cut through the stem with ease and velocity. Then I get to examine, how was the quality of that cut? It was a little thin. Okay, so let's do another one. What's it going to feel like and sound like when the sole of the club drags through that grass. Oh yeah, it feels like, there, hear the difference? So that had a nice compression and had a nice thump along the surface of the ground. So you want to really gather the information your brain needs to cut through the stem with authority and ease. What's it going to sound like? What's it going to feel like on the sole of the club? The sole of the club is what you're using. See that? If the sole of the club glides along the ground with a nice whip, the ball will meet the face and leap into the air. Now, the instant you do this, well, now you've lost everything down here, right? You've lost sight of your task. So when your eyes are finished here and they come back here, what do you think is going to happen? Oh, ball! That's like, for a dog, squirrel, right? So here you are trying to train your dog and a squirrel runs in front of him. Woo! You know, they go bonkers. You're done with the training session and off the dog goes running after that squirrel. Same thing here. So if your brain is used to seeing a ball and you're always trying to hit a ball and you're trying to change that behavior, put the eyes on the grass, see the leading edge, give it a nice whipping cut through the stem, and stop thinking about what's going to happen to the ball and stay on task. Pretty please? And you get to see what happens after. So you say, okay, I see my dandelion stem. Yes, I cut through the stem. I felt it beautiful. I felt the sole of the club. I was going along the ground. How'd I do? Oh, look at that. The ball's in the air and it's flying pretty good. So stay tuned for our next video where we're going to show you the different variations of club face when cutting through that dandelion stem. Enjoy.